We welcome now Professor Ivor Sarakinsky. He's the Associate Professor of the School of Governance from Wits University. A very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for making the time.
That's a real pleasure, Desiree, and afternoon, listeners.
What recourse do these members have in terms of legal avenues?
I think it's not clear if there is any legal recourse, because a political party like the ANC is a voluntary organization, and it has a constitution and a set of rules and codes of conduct for its members. And if those codes of conduct and the rules of the way the party functions are clear and are accepted when you sign your membership form, it means that you accept the right of the party to take action against you if you're in breach of those codes. It's like any other club, a golf club or any other association. If you break the rules, you can be disciplined. So I can't see where there's an infringement in human rights. Maybe technical, constitutional, legal experts will be able to find a loophole which allows for some litigation in terms of an infringement of individual rights. But at face value, it seems as if this is the end of the road in terms of Ace Magashule's position in the ANC.
Why is he so emboldened then as to think that he is party constitution protected and obliged to suspend the president?
Well, I think that what he's trying to say is, I've been picked on. There are others in the top six and in other levels of the organization who've been involved in similar, if not worse, acts than me, and nothing's happened to them. So that's an accusation of fact. And what he's trying to do is create an equivalence to undermine the president of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa, and to enhance his standing in terms of the political plays that are forthcoming. But I don't know whether the legal claim that he's making will stand up in court.
Does the fact that the party had to take 4 legal opinion submissions in the run-up to making the final decision indicate what a complex decision it was, or were they just trying to make everyone happy?
It certainly shows that it was a complex decision in terms of 4 legal opinions, but I suspect that the legal opinions, the brief was, make it watertight, advise us on a process that is watertight and resilient in terms of appeals, so that when we act with confidence, and the decision that we make is resolute. That remains to be seen. Should Ace Magashule take this to court and review the decision through the courts, and that will be the real test of whether this is as resolute as it seems.
But from where we stand, do you think it's watertight, and does Ace Magashule have any wiggle room?
I can't see how the suspension infringes on his rights in terms of him, the ANC being a voluntary organization. The stand-aside rule was passed at 2017 in a democratic conference. So it's not clear how he's going to try and circumvent that rule. And if he can't circumvent it, then he has to comply with it and take it on the chin. And we wait to see what his next action is in that regard.
Prof, what does it do to the fortunes of a party that's facing local government elections in October?
It's potentially mixed. On the one hand, it could be very positive in terms of winning back lost support, in terms of the ANC losing public trust, in terms of the public knowledge about corruption and no action being taken. So this action could bring back those supporters who stayed away in 2019 and 2016 local government elections previously. On the other hand, in certain areas where the personalities and the leaders are on the wrong side of these resolutions, those supporters might mobilize not to vote for the ANC or to support other parties.
Yeah.
So in parts of the Free State, in parts of Northwest, in parts of KZN and parts of Mpumalanga, we're going to watch the local government elections very closely to see whether there are parts of those provinces that go with the leadership, and that will tell us how strong these leaders are in terms of local support. At the moment, we don't know.
Of course, the question at the moment being where to from here. What do you see unfolding as the party tries to make its way forward?
More and more contradictory statements in the public domain. Parties on the leaders on the wrong side of this resolution, trying to fuzzy the waters, trying to fudge the issues, trying to make it as complicated as possible so that they can create some wriggle room. So I think that the discourse, the narrative is just going to get more and more involved as this plays itself out. In terms of the ANC, it seems as if there's enough consensus to stand firm on the resolution in the National Executive Committee. And now it's just a question of waiting to see what Ace Magashule and his allies do.
We haven't spoken much about those counter letters, the Deputy Secretary-General sending a suspension letter, the Secretary-General sending a suspension letter to the President. Gwede Mantashe has come out today to say that letter might be valid, but it carries no water, and that Ace Magashule has no standing in terms of the ability to suspend a president on his own without following internal party processes. What are your thoughts about this toing and froing?
It's all part of the politics in terms of how this conflict is playing itself out. And ultimately, the courts, I think, will end up resolving whether the letter has status or not in terms of ANC process and constitution, and whether it complies. So we're moving into a realm of high uncertainty in terms of the ANC as an organization and its leadership beginning to mobilize for the forthcoming local government elections. The legal, technical, constitutional issues will have to be resolved in court. I can't see a political solution coming through now. It's gone too far for a political solution.
Former cabinet member, party parliamentary chairperson, Bongani Bongo, who's also an advocate himself, believes he can still go and fight this at the courts, and as you say, no legal standing. Why does he think he can still fight for his position?
I can't immediately imagine how, but my guess would be something along the lines of the rule in terms of stand down doesn't give those accused the right to respond. All it says is if you are charged with a serious offense, you stand down. And I think what the argument would be is, yes, we accept that rule, but we still have a right in terms of common legal process to have a hearing, and in that hearing to make a case as to why we think that enforcing that rule on us would be unjust and unfair. And I think that he's going to have to make his case in terms of along those lines. I can't see how else he can challenge the resolution.
Ivor Sarakinsky, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Real pleasure.
Mr. Sarakinsky is with Wits University, the governance school. Now, let's take a look at some of the tweets that you have sent through regarding this conversation, your expectations about the way forward for the African National Congress. Let's take a look at your tweets.